Good morning. Today we're on Lunch Creek Trail. Good morning. This morning we're on Lunch Creek Trail. I am Janelle. This is Tony. Today I'm going to be doing a watercolor painting down the trail. And Tony, you're going to do a sketch and maybe try
watercolor.
Yeah, maybe try watercolor for the first time. This is a gorgeous trail. I haven't vlogged here yet. I'll show you the map. You can see where we are. Here, I have done a vlog of this trail here before. I'll put a card up above. It'll be on one side or the other for that video. But today we're going to take this trail here, Lunch Creek. And this is a very long trail. You can go all the way to Lake Emery-Tobin. I've never been all the way there before. I've heard the trail is in terrible condition, and where you get to the lake, it's not a really great place to sit or anything, so I haven't made it all the way there before. I've done quite a few search and rescue missions on this trail. People sometimes will walk here and think they're on this loop trail, so they just keep walking and walking, and then they get lost. So that's where we're going today. All right, off we go. Dogs are more than ready. So here is the fork in the trail. Down there is the waterfall loop trail where my other vlog goes. But today we're turning here on this trail. This follows a creek, Lunch Creek, which is why the trail's named that. Anyway, if you like these kind of adventures, I do quite a few of these trail vlogs, and they're really fun. And if you like those and you like art, this is the perfect place for you. Consider subscribing and joining the community. I'm having so much fun being inspired by the artists here and the people who just love the outdoors. We are in Ketchikan, Alaska. We are about 1.5 hours by air north of Seattle. We're in the Tongass National Rainforest, which is quite a bit different climate than what people normally think of Alaska being. We get about 160 inches of rainfall annually. And compare that to Seattle, which is considered a rainy place. Seattle gets about 40 inches average of precipitation every year. So the rain keeps our forest happy, our creeks happy. There's Lunch Creek. And keeps our air clean. And we have a lot of wilderness here. And our animals here are a little bit different than in other parts of Alaska. We do not have moose, we do not have porcupines, we do not have brown bears, which are Alaska's version of the grizzly bear. We have black bears, tons of bald eagles, and a lot of interesting animals. It's a pretty safe place to hike in general. The black bears are kind of skittish, so we don't really worry about them. We don't have any reptiles, so we don't have to worry about snakes. We don't have poison oak or poison ivy. We don't really have ticks. We don't have skunks. We don't have raccoons. I know raccoons really aren't hazardous, but so it's really a pretty safe place to hike. All right, let's get down the trail. This trail is particularly awesome with its trees. There's a huge western red cedar. There's another one over there. And so off we go. I'll show you all the interesting stuff on this trail. This is a great trail for mushrooming too. We find a lot of winter chanterelles, golden chanterelles, and with our recent rain, I think they should be popping out here soon. There's another really impressive red cedar. One of the characteristics of the red cedar are these J-shaped arms like this. They come down. Red cedars can live up to 1,200 years. And the red cedars are what our Native Alaskans here in Southeast Alaska use to create totem poles. And if you want to see the totem pole that I was invited to help paint on, that will be in the 30 totem pole trail up in Juneau, check out that video. I put a card up above. That was such an honor. I've helped paint that twice now. And the red cedars are used for the fiber that you can strip from the bark. They'll strip a narrow strip of bark from a young red cedar. And the yellow cedars too. We also have the yellow cedars. And the Alaska Natives will weave baskets and hats and capes, all kinds of items out of those. The cedars are also used to carve canoes and masks and ceremonial rattles. And their relationship with the trees is almost spiritual. We have the Haida here, we have the Tlingit, the original peoples of this land, and we have the Tsimshian. And so we are rich with native art, native culture. It's a pretty amazing place to live. One of the coolest red cedars on this trail. Look at that. Now that's a J-shaped arm. When we did a lot of training here with our search and rescue dogs, sometimes, especially when we had younger kids, especially boys, hiding for us, they would love to climb up to places like that to hide for the dogs, to try to trick them. The dogs weren't tricked, but the kids thought it was fun. And here is a secondary waterfall. There's a bigger waterfall down where the loop trail is, but this is a really beautiful spot. There's some flat area down there where I have done some drawing and painting before. But this trail has so many beautiful spots. It's probably my favorite trail here, but it's farther from my house, so I don't come here as often. Here's an awesome example of a Sitka spruce. It is close to maximum width. They can get up to 6 feet in diameter. And this is a tall tree. I believe they can get up to about 500 feet tall. And these are very important. In the old days, these were used as ship's masts. And as Tony pointed out in a video a while ago, tell the story again about the spruce goose.
Oh yeah, the Sitka spruce is known for its lightweight and strength, so Howard Hughes used it when he built his famous spruce goose, which at the time was, I think, the largest plane to ever fly. I'm sure that's been surpassed now. But...
Yeah, pretty cool, and this is a quite large one. So they're pretty amazing trees. The roots of the spruce and I think the yellow cedars too also are used by the Native Alaskans to, they will strip the roots off out of the ground. The roots here grow very shallow because we have this shallow layer of soil and moss. It's kind of a peat soil. So the roots are actually pretty close to the surface. So they'll pull up the roots clean them off, and they can weave very, very finely with them. It's very strong, and some of the baskets made out of them are incredibly impressive with very detailed patterns. So, pretty cool tree. Now we're in the quieter portion of the trail. The trail flattens out, the creek flattens out, so it becomes quiet. Let's listen to the quiet for a minute. Except for that creature. Audrey, you little weirdo. Hey weirdo, what are you doing?
You got sap on your
I think she has a piece of grass stuck in her teeth. I'm not sure if there's any breed of dog weirder than the border collie. Right here we have a patch of Devil's Club, and the roots of this have medicinal qualities that the natives took advantage of in the old days. And as you can see, they grow very large in these swampy areas, and they will get these cones of red berries on top that are not edible for us, but the bears and the birds like them. Some people will strip off the bark, which is extremely thorny, and it's almost like bamboo. It's hollow, the stems, and then they'll slice them up and make beads out of them. Some people will wood burn them or paint them. So that's kind of a fun way to use forest products here. We have some blue huckleberries here. Good for a morning snack. This big Sitka spruce fell about 5 years ago, and so crossing this little rivulet that connects to Lunch Creek here was a muddy and slippery mess for a long time. They just rebuilt this bridge. Was it just this summer? This spring. I think they finished this this spring finally. So you can see here, this is a really good example of how shallow our tree roots are. They have this huge tree here, and the roots are only that deep. And this tree fell over in a big wind and rainstorm. I think it was about 5 years ago, at least, maybe during COVID. Here is the old trail before they rebuilt this boardwalk. The tree ripped out a big chunk of this pre-existing trail. Here is the original trail that got destroyed when the tree fell. There is an old cedar tree that grew twisted, and then it died, and they live, as I said, about 1,200 years, but they take about 500 years to rot down according to the Forest Service information. But this one's extra cool because the middle of it got all hollowed out. They are prone to get heart rot, which some of the totem pole carvers find with dismay. The totem pole that I was recently helping to paint, they did find a little bit of heart rot in there. So they have ways to carve that out, and then they can fill it in, and they have to work around that. But they always hope that there's not a lot of that. But this tree here probably did have quite a bit of that, I'm guessing. Here we are at a nice little resting spot. We call this the stone bench for obvious reasons, a little rock bench. We're gonna stop here and we're gonna get our art supplies out, so I'll share with you what we work on. Little wet paint carrier, wet painting carrier. With watercolor, it's not as critical, but it is kind of a safer way to carry it in my backpack. My little watercolor kit. I have some extra arches watercolor paper, my little painting set, and the ever critical paper towel. Then I have my pens in here, and tea. Bengal spice again. So here's our scene. I think we both decided we'll paint the bench with that green background. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think I'll throw the ball for the dogs right here because Audrey, the one that's circling, she always drops the ball in the creek because she thinks it's fun to watch it float away. So I think I'll throw the ball on the way back. Okay, well, I've made a really nice little mess. As I often do, I probably will take this home, put on my reading glasses so I can see what I actually did, and probably put in some highlights. The bench is pretty dark. I don't have time out here or the dry air to be able to wait for things to dry so that I can layer very well. So sometimes it's just the wisest thing for me to stop and work on it at home a little bit once it's dry. I might use my gouache paints to touch it up. I find it difficult to layer those light little details, the leaves and such, with the watercolors. I don't really have masking fluid or anything like that. So my aim is to just get sort of a basic first layer, sort of just get the composition down, and then I can work on it more at home or decide that it's not worth it. But it's always a fun exercise. I was having a little trouble with my drawing. I kept wanting the creek to take up more space. So I kept forgetting the bench was right here. I kept wanting the creek to come all the way down, which wouldn't have been a disaster, but let's see what Tony's doing. This is his very first watercolor painting, so I'm really excited. Probably one of the things he said that he would have changed is to use a smaller piece of paper. I take these quarter sheets of watercolor paper that I have in packets, and I cut them up into fours, so they end up being about 4.5 by 6 inches, whereas he used a full half piece, right, of one of those. This is what he's got. He said that he really likes when the reds that I often put in my paintings, so he went bold, which I think is awesome. How many people on their first paintings decide to go bold? Usually everyone, it's all washed out and you can barely see it. So he went really bold, and we have some complementary colors here, like this reds and these greens. He's got these really nice and bright in the background, so I think this is great. This is his first time ever using one of these water brushes, and he's never mixed paint before, so I think that turned out really well. What do you think, Tony? What would you do different next time?
I don't know. I think I have too much red, so I would have toned that down a little bit.
The water is pretty brown.
I had a hard time trying to get a right color for the bench. I think
Me
it ended up
too.
a little too green.
Me too. Mine ended up a little bit green too. Both
it does
of
have
us.
vegetation on it though, so
Both of us ended up with kind of greenish
I like you have some
benches.
lighter
So
highlights.
so you can lighten up watercolor by squishing some water in there and then dabbing it with your paper towel. So you can lift some of the paint if you want to. That was a struggle I went through too. The bench does have a lot of moss on it, but it really is a more slate kind of color, being that it is made out of slate. And the water, you can see, is kind of an orange brown. That is difficult to capture. You have these, well, you couldn't really see those reflections from over there, but anyway, it's time for us to get some breakfast. It's gonna be at least a half an hour before we get home from here. So I'm really glad that you joined us. It was really fun seeing Tony trying painting for the very first time. That was very brave of him to do that and show everybody on camera. And so it'll be really fun watching how Tony progresses. He's never painted a painting before, right? Just the acrylic. He's been to my classes where we do the paint and sips with the acrylic paintings. Those are pretty step by step though. This is his first time painting where he had to make all the decisions and do the mixing on his own, so pretty exciting. Anyway, thanks for coming along with us on the beautiful Lunch Creek Trail. The dogs are very sad that I haven't thrown the ball yet, so we'll be throwing the ball on the way home. Stay creative and have fun.